leg. With 2 on and only 1 out, 2018 National League MVP runner-up Javier Baez put down a drag bunt. Williams picked up the ball and probably should have put it in his back pocket, but instead threw it past first baseman Josh Bell, allowing Bryant to score an unearned run. After that, Williams got Kyle Schwarber and Contreras down on strikes. Williams allowed his first earned run of the day after Jason Kipnis hit a long ball off of the right-hander in the 4th. However, the wheels started to fall off in the 5th. Williams walked both Bryant and Rizzo to start the inning. Gold Glove finalist Jacob Stallings caught Rizzo sleeping and picked him off first base. Williams then got Baez to fly out to the Pirates' right fielder Cole Tucker. With righty killer Kyle Schwarber stepping to the plate, Pittsburgh Pirates manager Derek Shelton went to Nick Turley. However, Turley walked both Schwarber and Contreras on full counts. That brought Cubs right fielder Jason Hayward up to the plate with the bases loaded and 2 out. On an 0-2 pitch, Hayward slapped a single to right field, scoring 2 runs. Turley got out of the inning, getting Victor Caratini to strike out, but the damage had been done. Williams' final line was 4 2/3 innings, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, but an impressive 6 strikeouts. After Turley, right-hander Jeff Hartlieb came in for the next 1 1/3 innings. While he did show some really impressive movement with his sinker, he had to dance through the raindrops as he gave up 3 hits. Hartlieb gave away to lefty Miguel Del Pozo, who retired the last 2 batters of the 7th inning. Del Pozo pitched into the 8th inning, but the control issues started to show as the southpaw walked Jason Kipnis and allowed Ian Happ to reach base on a 2-0 single. Del Pozo was pulled for Dovidus Neverauskas. On Neverauskas' second pitch, he loaded the bases by giving up a single to Bryant. Rizzo then drove in 2 more on a single to left field. Neverauskas got out of the inning after getting Baez to bounce out to him, getting the out at home, and then getting Contreras to bounce into a double play. The Pittsburgh Pirates' bats looked much like they did on Wednesday against the Brewers. The Pirates only had 2 hits going into the 8th inning. The 8th inning, however, the bats started to show some semblance of life. Although it was short-lived, it still produced a run for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Designated hitter Gregory Polanco started the inning off with a double to right field. He was almost stranded as Cole Tucker struck out and Jacob Stallings flew out. However, center fielder Gerard Dyson hit a ball through the right side of the infield, scoring the only run of the 8th for the Pittsburgh Pirates. It looked like this might have sparked a late-game rally, as after Dyson, Adam Frazier lined a ball into left field, but the rally was quickly snuffed out after Kevin Newman lined out to Hayward. The Pirates made one final push in the 9th inning, with Craig Kimbrell, Josh Bell, and Colin Wren both teed off versus the former Braves' dominant 9th inning man going back-to-back. This was Bell's first long ball of the year and Moran's 4th of the year. However, Kimbrell was able to get Reynolds, Polanco, and Tucker out, albeit on very hard-hit balls for all 3. The Pittsburgh Pirates will play the Cubs again tonight at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Rookie Mitch Keller will take the hill after going 5 solid innings versus the Cardinals on Sunday. He'll face off against Tyler Chatwood, who had major control issues last year, but went 6 strong versus the Brewers on Sunday as well. Despite being plagued by the long ball in his first 2 starts of the season, Joe Musgrove's slider is becoming a weapon for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Entering the 2020 season, expectations were high for Joe Musgrove. The right-handed pitcher was going to be looked upon to anchor the starting rotation for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and these expectations only grew after Chris Archer was lost for the season due to surgery. Manager Derek Shelton showed a lot of faith in Musgrove when he named Musgrove the team's opening day starter. Musgrove has made 2 starts this season for the Pittsburgh Pirates. While he has been plagued by the home run ball in these 3 starts, his slider has started to develop into a weapon. Despite the 4 home runs he has allowed, Musgrove has limited opposing batters to 32% hard contact rate and an average exit velocity of 85.7 miles per hour. Both of these numbers are better than the MLB league average from 2019. His 4-seam fastball is the pitch that Musgrove has gotten into trouble. Opposing batters are slugging .643 off the pitch. 2 of the 4 home runs he has allowed have come when he threw the 4-seamer. In the offseason, we discussed how 2020 could be a breakout season for Musgrove. A big reason for this belief was that new pitching coach Oscar Marine What if Musgrove throw his slider more? The early results have only further solidified this belief. We have already discussed Musgrove's struggle with his fastball this season. As for his slider, the results have been the opposite. He has allowed just one hit, albeit a home run, off of his slider through his first 2 starts. He has generated a 66.7% whiff rate with the pitch, and the average exit velocity off of it has been just 83.7 miles per hour. As a point of reference, the MLB average for exit velocity is 88.1 miles per hour. So far this season, Musgrove has struck out 15 batters. 8 of those strikeouts have come via the slider. His slider is averaging 41.8 inches of vertical drop and 13.7 inches of horizontal break, both of which are better than average. His slider has also had ridiculous spin rate on it this season. An average slider spin rate is 2,400 to 2,500 RPMs. Musgrove's slider has been an RPM of 2,656 so far this season, which among the best in baseball. A good slider is nothing new for Musgrove. Last season, opposing batters slugged just 240 off of his slider to go with a 39.3% whiff rate and an 83.3 mile per hour exit velocity. The issue was he was not throwing the pitch enough. In 2019, Musgrove threw his slider just 22.1% of the time, and this number spiked late in the season due to him throwing it more in his final 8 starts of the season. Not coincidentally, this was the best 8-start stretch of his career. Through 2 starts this season, he has thrown the slider just 20.2% of the time. However, he has nearly doubled his curveball usage, 9.5% to 17.4%, which is a big reason why he has not thrown the slider more. That said, Musgrove should still look to increase his slider usage. He threw his slider on 25% of his pitches against the Cardinals in his first start of the season. Throwing the pitch at least 25% of the time should be the norm for Musgrove in his outings. So far this season, Musgrove's 4-seamer usage has dropped from over 37% in 2019 to 32.6% this season. That is good to see. However, in an ideal world, you would like to see his slider usage increase a few ticks. Musgrove's slider is becoming a weapon, and now it is time to treat it as such. And that's going to be the big thing. I mean, Joe Musgrove has about 10 starts left in 2020, and the question over the final 10 starts of the season for Musgrove is, for me, what is he going to do with his slider? Because right now he's throwing the pitch at just 20.2% of the time, but what we like to see, and even though Musgrove has lost both of his starts, he still threw the slider 25% of the time against the Cardinals, and he pitched pretty well against them. He's gotten a little bit unlucky with the home run ball snake biting him, but the biggest reason why the home run ball has come to bite him is because he's still throwing that 4-seamer 32.6% of the time. And what you like to see, so right now he has the 4-seam at 32.6, he has a slider at 20.2, and the curveball at 17.4. And what you really like to see out of Musgrove is the fact that he has doubled that curveball usage. Last season it was at 9.5%. It's up to 17.4 so far this season. So it's understandable that the slider is down a couple ticks from 22.1 to 20.2. And we saw last year, the final 8 starts of Musgrove's 2019 season were the best 8-start stretch of his career, and reason being, he threw his slider a lot. And that is what he's going to have to do for the Pirates in his last 10 starts. He has 10 opportunities to go out and get very important wins for this Pirates team. And while 2020 might not be the year for contention, keep in mind that I still believe this team is in a good position to go 30-30, and you know what 30-30 equals in 2020? That equals a playoff berth, and anything can happen once a team gets into the playoffs. If Musgrove can utilize that slider and win 8 out of his last 10 starts, win 7 out of the 10, the Pirates are going to be in a very good position. We can't have Musgrove starts being losses like the last 2. And the way I believe that we convert Musgrove starts from losses to wins is by him relying on that slider more often than he has to start the year. I would like to see that pitch around 30% of the time. It's a weapon. It really is, and it is time for him to realize that, for Oscar Marin to realize that, and for the Pirates to act like it. An under-the-radar signing this past offseason, Phillip Evans, could solidify himself as a long-term utility option for the Pittsburgh Pirates. It's not every day you run into a guy who can play wherever you can put him, and be a productive batter as well. The last guy who I can think of off the top of my head that really broke out into both a good defender at multiple positions and was useful with the bat is Dodgers utility man Chris Taylor. In the past 3 seasons, Taylor has a .268 average, a .340 on base, and a .468 slugging, 50 long balls, 98 doubles, and a .116 WRC+. He has also played an ample amount of time in the outfield, middle infield, and occasionally third base. He also isn't really bad at any position. Throughout this past offseason, the Pittsburgh Pirates made a fairly minor signing. On December 17th, they signed a handful of really unnotable names, one of which was Phillip Evans. Evans, up until that point, hadn't really done much to put his name on the map. He was selected in the 15th round of the 2011 MLB draft by the New York Mets, but never appeared on any prospect lists. In 2017 and 2018, Evans saw a bit of MLB playing time with the New York Mets. He only played in 34 games and received 61 plate appearances. Evans collected just 13 hits, struck out 16 times, and walked 6 times. Last year, he didn't appear in the majors, but spent the entire year with the Chicago Cubs AAA team. He did hit for a solid .283 average, a .371 on base, and a .471 slugging, with a .106 WRC+. While these are his best numbers at any minor league level across the full season, remember, he was in the Pacific Coast League. Last year, it was notoriously hitter-friendly, with the league home run leader, Kevin Crone, blasting 38 in just 82 games, and the Houston Astros Rookie of the Year winner, Jordan Alvarez, blasting off 23 times in the span of 53 games. His overall career line at AAA is a .276 average, a .351 on base, and a .454 slugging. However, Evans can crush left-handed pitching. Last year at AAA, the right-handed batter was hitting for a .349 average, a .430 on base, and a .550 slugging versus southpaws. This isn't anything new, as he hit for a .362 average, .439 OBP, and a .810 slugging versus lefties in 2018, and a .330 average, .344 on base, and a .484 slugging versus lefties in 2017. But while Evans might not be all that great of a batter, he has experience all over the field. He's a shortstop by trade, but has a lot of experience at shortstop and second base. Though he hasn't played it as frequently as third base, second base, and shortstop, he has 178 and 2/3 professional innings logged at first base and 160 logged innings in the outfield. This spring training, Evans collected 11 hits, including 4 doubles and 2 home runs while striking out 9 times. So far, in the 4 games he has played during the regular season, Evans has 5 hits and 15 plate appearances, with 2 being doubles, plus he's walked 2 times. He's so far gotten on base 50% of the time. Now, of course, very small sample sizes, but it's still worth pointing out. If Evans can show he can hit MLB pitching at a competent level, he could be a long-term bench utility piece for the Pittsburgh Pirates, something like the next Chris Taylor, Brock Holt, or Kiki Hernandez. Evans can adequately play third base, the middle infield, and left field, while still hitting left-handers at an above-average rate and providing a bit of pop off the bench. He'll find a spot on the Pirates roster for the next few years. He could possibly even be one of the more valuable players on the team's roster, given his defensive versatility. And I truly believe the Pirates have found a diamond in the rough in Phillip Evans. I really do. And, throughout the course of the little hiatus we had between spring training and summer camp, I noticed a lot more about Phillip Evans. He was living at the time with Joe Musgrove. He lives with him in the offseason. And those two, it made me have a little bit more confidence in Phillip Evans making the opening day roster and the fact that it was a 30-man roster. But he's going to be on this as it continues to trim down. And I thought coming into this season that the big utility guys were going to be JT Riddle and Eric Gonzalez. But I was wrong. The big utility guy is Phillip Evans. And JT Riddle might have lost himself a job. He's eligible to